Welcome back to English 4.0, the radio show. Let's go! Advanced.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Advanced Class number 186. This means that today we have officially 10 classes left. 10 more classes in the program, so remember, we go up to 195. And then that's it. So hopefully you're following along. Hopefully you understand everything. Hopefully you're doing well and making the most of the course. You're taking advantage of everything, making the most of it. And here we are with a little review of yesterday's content. We saw yesterday the phrasal verb, well, the structure, the expression, to make it, I should say. Not a phrasal verb, but to make it, which is poder ir, poder asistir, to be able, essentially to be able to attend something. Now, in fact, tonight I have a party. I'm going to a party tonight, which is for the Vaughan teachers. And a few weeks ago, I got an email from the Human Resources Department here at the company inviting the teachers to a party, an annual event. Yeah, it's our summer party for teachers, though, for teachers only, I think. And they said, Kyle, please let us know if you're going to be able to make it, if you're going to be able to attend, if you're going to be able to make it. And I said, yes, I can make it, and I look forward to going. Yes, so to make it, to be able to attend. So, unfortunately, last weekend, I was invited to a barbecue, but I had to tell my friend that I wasn't able to make it. I said, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it. I couldn't make it because I had some other commitments. I had some other things to do, so I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it to the barbecue. But tonight, I'm going to make it to this teacher's party. And it's a nice little annual event. At this event, we talk. A few people say a few words about what has happened over the course of the year, and then we get to sort of celebrate the fact that we've completed one more school year, if you will, or one more course, if you want to call it that. So to make it. I've only made it to one football match in Madrid. I've made it to two matches. I've made it to one Real Madrid match, and I've made it to one Atletico match. Yeah. It's funny, I've been here for over 6.5 years, and I've only made it to two football matches. I'd like to make it to more, but we'll see. Maybe next year. To make it, it seems I always have trouble making it to the airport on time. I always seem to have problems when I have to catch a flight to make it on time. I seem to have problems making it on time. But I always make it. One way or another, I always seem to make it to the airport on time. So to make it, poder asistir, poder ir. To be able to attend or to be able to get yourself to a certain place on time. All right, so then the next thing we saw was the structure used for very polite questions. I don't suppose you could fix it for me. So I could say, could you fix it for me? But I could say more politely, it's less direct, but it's a very polite way of speaking. I don't suppose you could fix it for me. I don't suppose you could explain that again. I don't suppose you could help me. Could you? I don't suppose. Okay? And very often we use a question tag. Could you? I don't suppose you could do it for me. Could you? I don't suppose he left a letter for me. Did he? Now, with these question tags, we want to remember that what we do is we take the auxiliary verb and you change it from affirmative to negative or negative to affirmative, and then we add the subject. So in a simple case, I said, "Oh, you like tomatoes, don't you? You like tomatoes, don't?" So you like tomatoes. Now, the auxiliary verb, even though it doesn't appear in that sentence, if you think of a question, the question would be, "Do you like tomatoes?" But now I'm changing that into negative. Do becomes don't, and I say, "Don't you? You like tomatoes, don't you?" Now, if I expect that you don't like tomatoes, I could say, "Ooh, you don't like tomatoes, do you? You don't live in Germany, do you? You don't know my brother, do you? You weren't here yesterday, were you? You weren't here, were you? You were here, weren't you? You know him, don't you?" Okay? You see a lot of movies, don't you? For example. Now, so this is the question tag, which is appearing very often in this particular type of indirect question. I don't suppose. So now let's practice, and we'll add in the question tags as well as we go with a few examples. So first we have, well, the example I gave you yesterday, could you fix it for me? So you would say, I don't suppose you could fix it for me, could you? Now, do you know where the center of town is? This is the direct question. Well, in fact, the direct question would be, where is the center of town? But I could say, if it's an indirect question, do you know where the center of town is? And then, now, could you tell me where the center of town is? So, I don't suppose you could tell me where the center of town is, could you? Okay. Would you like something to eat? Now here you could say, I don't suppose you'd like something to eat, would you? So you would you? Do you think he knows the answer? Now with the I don't suppose structure, you could say, I don't suppose he knows the answer, does he? Have you met my brother? Now, I don't suppose. You could say, so repeat with me out loud, I don't suppose you've met my brother. And then the question tag, have you? I don't suppose you have. I don't suppose you've met my brother, have you? Do you know where Richard is? Now you could say, I don't suppose you know where Richard is, do you? All right. Does she want something to drink? I don't suppose she wants anything to drink, does she? Did she leave her contact information? I don't suppose she left her contact information, did she? All right. I don't suppose. So, suponer, to suppose. I don't suppose she left her contact information, did she? Mm-hmm. Now, a few more, a little bit more complicated. Would she have called us if she had finished by now? I don't suppose she would have called us if she had finished by now. Would she? Or would she have? Okay, so this structure, I don't suppose, it's a polite form. It's a very polite form we use for asking questions, and we often use this question tag. Okay? I don't suppose you have any problems with this, do you? Okay, let's move on now and take a look at our expression of the day.
Expression of the day.
All right, it is time for the expression of the day. Our expression of the day today is to go awry. Awry. And this is a strange spelling, awry, A-W-R-Y. Awry. We have a silent W. Awry. To go awry. Now, to go awry simply means to go wrong. Something went awry. The computer started up and then something went awry. There was a failure. Something went wrong. Something failed. Something strange happened. I don't know what it was, but something went awry with the computer. So to go awry, we say. It went awry. A few things went awry at the conference. A few things went awry with the system. A few things went awry during the meetings. So just to go wrong. There was a mistake. There was an error. There was even a disagreement. Something is less than ideal. It's not going well. It has gone awry. A-W-R-Y. So to go awry is our expression of the day today. And now as we move into the new material for class number 186, we see the structure to break down. To break down. Now, this, in fact, has several meanings. A few different meanings, to break down. And we're going to look at the meaning here. In the student guide, we see desglosar. So to break down numbers. If you have a budget, un presupuesto, a budget, budgets often break down numbers. They break down, for example, expenses. Break down the expenses into fixed expenses and variable expenses. Let's break down the various sources of revenue. We can break them down by region. We can break them down by method of payment. We can break them down in a number of ways. So to break down, desglosar, to break down, and desgloser, and we can break down a number of types of statistics, for example, break down statistics, estadísticas. We can also break down a process into steps. So we often use the preposition into, to break it down into steps, to break it down into categories, for example. So to break down a process into steps, un proceso, into steps, pasos. And to break down points into a conclusion, let's say, or break down a conclusion into several key points or different steps that have to be followed or different points that we have learned. Okay, so to break down. I broke down the figures. Did you break down the figures? Yes, I broke them down. So this is a separable phrasal verb. Yes, I broke down the figures. I broke them down. So when we introduce the pronoun them, we're putting the pronoun between the verb and the preposition. I broke them down. I broke them down by region. Did you break them down by region or by city? Oh, I broke them down by region. I didn't break them down by city. Ask me if I would have broken them down by region. Kyle, would you have broken them down by region? Yes, I would have broken them down by region. I would have broken them down by region. Now, other than this meaning of breakdown, desgloser, we also have a breakdown as an avería. So for a car, if your car breaks down on the highway, if you're in traffic and the engine fails, you have suffered a breakdown as a noun, or it broke down as a verb. My car broke down. My car broke down on the highway. It suffered a failure. The computer could break down, but usually this is a mechanical failure, right? If something just breaks, I dropped it and it broke, then it's not a breakdown. A breakdown is a mechanical failure. Things are operating and nothing happened. You know, my car didn't hit a tree. It just stopped working. It's been working for a long time and it failed. It was basically a mechanical failure is a breakdown. Okay, so that's another meaning of breakdown. I had an old car in Canada that broke down a few times. It was quite reliable, but it broke down a few times. But it was quite old as well. It was more than 15 years old, so I guess it was normal for cars like that to break down occasionally.
Vocabulary of the day.
All right, it is time for the vocabulary of the day. This is our 5 words of vocabulary here in class 186. We see mantenerse en forma, which is to keep fit. To keep fit, to keep in shape, you could also say, in forma, in shape, to keep fit. I try to keep fit. I try to go to a gym regularly to keep fit. Matar tiempo. This is to kill time. Matar tiempo. What do you do to kill time? If you're trying to kill some time, why not study some English? Good idea, to kill time. Sounds good. Investigar, un asunto. Here we have to look into, un asunto. Okay, so I'm not sure about the details of this process, so I will look into it. Investigar. So now this is not to investigate something thoroughly, like a murder. The police don't look into murder cases. They investigate them thoroughly. But we can look into things when we simply want to gather information. So I'd like to know when Jimi Hendrix was born. Well, I'll look into it. I'll use the internet and I'll look into it. I'll try to find some information to look into something. Or to also look into a process, to gain information about a process. So, un asunto, an issue or a process to learn basic steps for procedures, for example. Investigar. In that sense, we say to look into, which is a phrasal verb. And then we also have revisar, repasar, which is to look over. I recommend that you look over your notes and that you look over your student guide regularly. Yes. Finally, notificar. Notificar, to notify. Notify me of the changes. Let me know. Please notify me of any changes. Let me know about any changes. Okay. Now, Nacho has just notified me that we're out of time. So I'm going to stop there. We have one more thing, which is the way things stand. Tal y como están las cosas. The way things stand. The way things stand right now, we have 10 classes left. In fact, 9 after today, the way things stand. But we will look at this structure tomorrow and a whole lot more. I'm going to stop now, but I encourage you to keep listening, keep studying, keep doing your best. And I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.